Hi guys, I hope you're having a wonderful evening and thank you so much for staying tuned to Y254 TV. My name is Cheryl Blessing and you are watching the Power Talk Show. We have amazing conversations on this platform and because it's the month of love, I want us to talk about love. But we're taking a different turn in this regard. We're talking about heartbreaks, loss of love, especially when it comes to men. Because I know we all experience heartbreaks through some relationships in our lives. And men in particular, I want us to talk about how you deal with heartbreaks. Once it's happened, once you anticipate it's going to happen, how do you go through the motions? How do you make sure that you handle the situation in the best way possible? I want us to get into this conversation, and I'm joined by two amazing gentlemen who are going to give me some insight on this conversation. I am here with Glantwil Ruvinzo. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Cheryl, for having me.
It's such a pleasure to have you. We've been having a couple of conversations, and it's so nice to have you back for this one as well.
Thank you.
And I'm also here with Alan Lawrence.
Yeah.
I haven't had you on here this year, I think.
It has been quite a long time,
but we've had so many conversations on relationships,
Yeah.
but I don't think we've ever really touched on heartbreaks.
Oh, we have never.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I'm excited for this conversation,
too.
particularly in regards to the men, because you know, even just when we were thinking about this story, conceptualizing it, we realized that men deal with heartbreaks differently, and then sometimes because of the communities that we may or may not have, it becomes almost impossible sometimes for people to open up and be honest about how they feel, how much their heart and the pain they're experiencing has affected them. So I want to engage with you as we continue with this conversation. I want to hear from you. So go on our platforms at Y254 across all social media platforms. Let me know, how did you deal with your heartbreak? Because I know we've been celebrating Valentine's, there has been a lot of love, but maybe it has been triggering you to remember that one situation, that one time when your heart was so broken that you didn't even want to date anyone anymore. And that's what I want to get into today. So just to kickstart the conversation, we all experience heartbreaks in different ways, and I want us to talk about what it actually means to have a heartbreak, because you know, for someone it's maybe you've been ignored, for someone else it has to be something deeper. You have to have like something deeper than the surface level has been affected. So I want to hear from you guys and my guests here. And the thing is, we got this conversation because there was some statistics that were released very recently that men are listening to heartbreak songs way more than women, and it was actually surprising. The numbers are crazy because we have a percentage of there's an increase of 189%, and they have been streaming more. This is from Spotify. We got our information from there, and Kenyan men are streaming more heartbreak songs than women, and they're streaming songs. They're streaming songs at a rate of 107% in comparison to the ladies who are streaming heartbreak music at a rate of 105%. And the increase of 189% is the thing that I think caught our attention more, because in the last 3 years, during that period, there has been an increase, there's been a spike. And it's also informed by, recently, there's been this polls of women in men's fields.
Wow.
I don't know if you've come across that trend on social media, where women are saying what they do, and it's because of what they've experienced from men in previous relationships, previous situationships, and all that. So I want, before we dive deeper into it, let's start with the definition of the word heartbreak. So Glantwil, what would you define as a heartbreak? What would you say is a heartbreak for you?
Wow, I love that you're talking about this, because this is something we hardly talk about. And for me to describe heartbreak is breach of trust, breach of loyalty, breach of commitment. That is what I would consider as a heartbreak for me.
Yeah.
To top it all, breach of commitment and breach of trust and loyalty. These three matter to me a lot, because this is what defines a relationship for me.
Yeah. I like that you've specified that, because mostly for women, we talk about love. Hapo uja mention love pali popote. There was trust, commitment, and loyalty. And those are things that are very essential for you to have a relationship.
Yes.
It's a commitment between two people who trust each other and they're loyal to each other. So the minute that's been broken, then your heart is broken as well.
Because for me, when you talk about love, personally, I grow in love. It doesn't happen spontaneously. I grow in love. So that means I have to consider these three things first, because it's what matters to me. Because I believe as time goes by, as I get to know you, as the more we stay, the more we continue to socialize and be together, the more I grow in love and fall in love with you as a person. Because I also understand there's a difference between I love you and I've actually fallen in love with you.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I like that you've really clearly outlined that, and that's a very distinct difference that we notice between men and women. Now, Alan, what would you define as a heartbreak for you?
A heartbreak, as far as relationships are concerned, in this context, I'll simply say it is a space whereby someone didn't hold to their part of the bargain, and leading to the aspect whereby my commitment to them begins to, like, they have betrayed my commitment unto them.
I like that, because you know, people sometimes go through life and go through relationships and situationships where we do not really expect the end to happen the way it does. And I think to some extent that also crashes us, because we had some expectations. There were things that we were looking forward to. We were visualizing and planning a future with this other person. So how then, before we even get into the heartbreak, as we are dealing with a relationship, as we're going through the motion of dating someone, getting to know someone, and falling in love with them, how can we manage our our expectations so that we get to a point where if things don't work out the way we want them to, we don't feel like our world is done and everything is completely finished? Glantwill, what do you do?
I think, personally, I would like I always say, I'll base it based on my personal experience. And what I think at my personal individual level is, what I'm going to say here is, it is so hard to get into a relationship without expectations. Because I think for me to decide to get into a relationship, there's something I'm looking for. And this something I'm looking for, it's because I can't give it to myself. So that's why I end up getting into this relationship. And that thing that I'm looking for is the expectations I have of you. It's things I expect you to do. It's the things I expect us to do in this relationship. So trying to imagine that I can manage my expectations as I get into this relationship might be a bit difficult for me. Because getting into a relationship again without expectations, inamaanisha nika nimeingia tu na ikiisha pia tu ni sawa, like there was nothing, absolutely nothing I was expecting from it. So I don't think for me it's possible for me to imagine getting into a relationship with expectations. It's hard.
And you know, most times it's not like we sit down and we write a list.
Absolutely.
It comes subconsciously because you sit and you maybe hanging out with someone, and then automatically you start imagining and you expect something. And one of the things, unfortunately, we have been experiencing in recent relationships is the matter of finances. People expect financial stability. People expect to be showered with gifts and cars. So the question I'm asking you on social media as we engage with this is financial stability the key to avoiding heartbreak? When you have financial stability, does that mean that you avoid heartbreak? Does that mean that love will work for you? Let me know by going to our platforms at Y254, and we're also streaming live on X, so go on our platforms and stream us, just in case you're not able to tune in from the comfort of your home. So just as Glantwill is saying, it's almost impossible to get into a relationship without expectations. We subconsciously desire, even before the relationship, kuna kwanga sometimes with the checklist that we have, Alan, and we've had the conversations of love, relationships, and we've talked about having a criteria, at least some basic criteria before. So what would you advise about, if we can't stop the expectations, how can we then manage the expectations?
It's very important that we're having this conversation. Number one thing for us, if we are going to have a fulfilling relationship, if at all we are going to have relationship and marriage bliss, not blisters, it begins from a place of, are we first of all friends? Because it is a disaster to begin a relationship without you and calculating the art of friendship. So the moment the two of you are friends, it becomes easier for you to be able to communicate. These are some of the expectations I'm having from this relationship. And number one key factor that causes so much heartbreaks and disappointment is because people are having unrealistic, uncommunicated expectations. So here I'm seated, I'm imagining Cheryl has to be this person in this relationship, and yet I've not actually communicated. That's why I began by saying the aspect of friendship plays a major role, to the extent whereby this person is a safe space, whereby you can come and tell me, you know what, I'm not liking this, and you see, there is a way we can be able to come to a space and where do we really meet? Because if I'm dating you and I'm loving you for no reason, then I will also heartbreak you for no reason. You have to understand, why do I love you and why am I attracted actually to you? Because it's so sad, even today, and just to divert a little bit, even today, ladies, I'm dating you because of your body. Why are you afraid to date me because of my finances? You understand? So there is that dynamic whereby...
And I like that. I feel like we should snap fingers for that, period.
So there is an aspect whereby there is an expectation I'm having on you. So why is it that if a woman communicates the expectations, it becomes like, now you've killed my mother? It is a relationship whereby, Glanton, we need to have this conversation. Yeah.
I like that you've brought that up, because this is something that we have been talking about more, and it's usually, there's a double standard for both genders. Sometimes with the ladies, we have these expectations. I want a man who looks like this with six-pack, six-figure salary, arrange, and all these unrealistic things. You end up
dating the devil himself, 666.
You know? And then on the counter side, the men sometimes will judge the expectations of women. Because if women expect you to be financially secure, for you to provide, all of a sudden you're a gold digger. And going into dating, dating and marriage, it's a very sensitive balance. Because the truth is, relying on just, we're in love is not everything. Clearly, we need commitment, we need trust, loyalty, we need to have understanding, communication, because Alan, you've talked about unrealistic, uncommunicated expectations, because we do not express, this is what I want. And let me bring it back to the aspect of friendship, because it's we were having this conversation before the show, and kwa friendship, sometimes kuna mtu ako na expectations ya tunatoka tuna grow, but kuna mwenye when friend zone, like this is it, we are not going beyond this. And so many people, we've been finding it harder to date organically, the way it's supposed to be. You meet, you become friends, and then you get into a relationship. People will meet today, they probably sleep together, and then kesho kutwa tuna date, tutajuliana kwa relationship. So we have changed. Society has completely transformed. So telling people the idea of become friends and then get into a relationship, people either expect, they will, watakuwa na hiyo friendship na hiyo expectation ya, oh, sisi ni mabeshte for 2 months. After 2 months, unafaa ukwende miangu. You know? Or really uncommunicated enye. You may be friends, you're going out on a few dates, you're getting to know each other, and then all of a sudden, you're supposed to be the girlfriend without any question, without any clarification of what are we. And if you bring up the what are we, it is a problem. So how do we maneuver that also, the friendships phase, so that we manage? Juna japo pia kwa friendship kuna potentially a heartbreak. One of the parties can get heartbroken because they have expectations. They're expecting this is the goal. And then if it doesn't work out like that, so how do you also communicate clearly in that phase, Glantwill, to make sure that you know this is what we are doing? Or if we're just friends, and maybe one day it's going to be like that, how do you communicate to make sure that you do not get a potential heartbreak from whatever happens?
Again, I love that, because it just reminded me of a video I did and said that, you know, there's this one person probably where you work or where you usually unashindanga mchana. There's this person you vibe and everybody see you too. And you look good together, you laugh together. And everybody is like, oh, you two should date, you two should be in a relationship. Just because that aspect of friendship can be seen. But the minute these two get into a relationship, usually it ends, and it ends so badly. So in as much as we're going to talk about being friends, there's still some things I will not let you know, however close you become as a friend. So inakuwa ngumu sana saa zingine to let somebody know your true intentions with them. And I've said this previously here on this channel, that people love deception a lot, especially when it comes to love. We dwell so much with deception. We believe so much in deception that if I told you reality, you will run away. And just like you said, if I told you, or rather if I kept in my mind that we're going to be friends and after 3 months, I want us to like move to the next level. If I told you that, probably you'd walk away, because maybe you're not at that same space. And then there are people, if you decide to make them as friends, they become comfortable to the point it becomes so hard for them to skip to the intimacy stage, part. So for some of us, like for example me, I find it so hard to have you as a friend for like even 3 months, 6 months, and then jump from that to now being into a relationship. Because if you give me this period of 6 months to be friends with you, it's going to be so hard for me to now jump from seeing you as a friend to now somebody I'm going to be intimate with. Because I'm going to see you as a sister, trust me. And it becomes so hard. Like again, it becomes so hard for me. I don't think it's possible for me.
You see what needs to happen is at this space, you have to meet people and date people without specialization. You get? So the challenge is we are meeting, I'm becoming a friend to Cheryl so that I get into a relationship with you. That is so wrong. The aspect needs to happen because remember, you always date within your dating market or dating scope. Because you cannot expect to date somebody in the US and you never hang out there. So also in your circle. Because the challenge with us, we ended up dating people who are supposed to be our destiny connectors. And the moment emotions get so much yoked, it becomes hard for you to be able to see what this relationship had to bring on the table. So it is very important that whenever we are meeting people, let's meet people without viewing them through the lenses of a relationship. Meet people with an open mind. You get? We are meeting these people to hang out. Remember, you cannot be any different from people who you constantly associate yourself with.
So meeting them with an open mind is where it becomes difficult to draw a line. Because again, I am human,
but that is
feelings, affection, I see, I like, I want.
I think,
okay, carry on.
Sorry, I think to just, I like that you're playing that off, because literally this is the same exact conversation we're having before. Because one person was for the be friends very organically. You have no expectations. Because you know when you're friends, you probably think, we're just hanging out with Alan. I'm not really thinking about, I'm not planning. And then it happens along the way. But then kuna ile yenye umonamse, you're attracted. There is that, the two feelings, the emotions already there. So how then do you maneuver that? Because I think that's the part that Glantville is at.
Exactly.
Because let's say the emotions are there. You've noticed someone, you really like them, you're interested in them. So how do you go through that and make sure that you're clear? So that usikwati wewe uko invested sana and then you find that umsali friend zone. So that's the thing that I think even the viewers, some people have probably experienced that. So how do you make it clear Apple your stage that yes, mini beshte yako, but kidogo
there, you know, we are human beings.
Body
no wood.
How do you tell them like that?
You get whereby sometimes there is a love, the commitment, and there is love, the infatuation. Maybe you're just having a crush on this person. You will truly know that you love this person after spending quality time with this person. Because remember, if I call you out for a date, you can come, you can pretend, I can pretend. But if I spend more time with you, like let's say organize a road trip, let's go for a road trip, you cannot fake it for 24 hours. You cannot fake it for quite some time. So through that, also, that is why it's very important when you begin having a feeling towards somebody, have an accountable partner, have somebody who can speak sense into you. For example, I'm having a crush on you. When I'm having a crush on you, there are some things I'll not be able to see. But when I have him to be able to be telling me, you see, there are some things, when you're in love, you cannot be able to see. So it is a space
you're
whereby...
blind. Love is blind for real.
But dating is an eye opener. So that's so true. So what needs to happen, you have to be very intentional. And especially men, you get. Men, let's not allow our erections to give us direction. You understand? Whereby we really have to streamline ourselves. Not every person we have to get to date them. Because a man, first of all, a man is a priest. A man is a sense of security. You understand? So I cannot be keeping on jumping into people's DMs. There are some people who God has brought them my way for me to learn a few things, for me to give them an identity. Remember man Adam? if it's coming for me to give them an identity, but me may end up date. So for me, how I look at it is we just have to be very intentional.
Yeah.
Very intentional. Train our minds. Not everybody we have to meet on the way we have to date them. Yeah.
I like that because kusema kweli watu ni warembo.
Yeah.
Kwanza social media it
has spoiled. Umekuja hivi umepata na warembo
wangapi?
Utawadate wote.
Nairobi. And this is just Nairobi.
Yes.
You've not even gone to
Sikata hiyo yote.
Utaenda Kakamega, utaenda Nyeri, Mombasa, hatujatoka Kenya.
Yeah.
There's this one person you just see and you have a spark for them. You know, at that time you don't know if it is infatuation. And again, it might actually not be.
Exactly. But that's why we are saying give time. You get, after giving time, you'll be able to know this person, because sometimes bad odor cannot be displayed on photos or from a distance. Some people are too bright till you come close to them. You prove them otherwise. So will you still maintain that kind of?
I like that. We have two different types of guys here. Alan
That's why I said men are not this.
Yeah, Alan is the professional expert when it comes to relationships. And then Glant will be vibes.
Yeah, na mimi niko kwa ground.
Yeah. And one thing I love about Glant will only to mention here, ataona mtu kama anakutaka. Tuende kakisonganga.
Yeah.
So
because I believe in instant love. There can be instant love. You don't have to be my friend to be. Like I've already told you, if you become my friend, chances are I will start viewing you as a friend. You'll get comfortable to even do things that now I'll start looking at you twice and be like, is this someone I really want to be with? You have friends, hata nyinyi mko na marafiki wa kaida, who get really comfortable and do things that, honestly speaking, you wouldn't want to see your partner do them.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing I'm talking about.
And you know the funny thing is that when I think about it, I think partners should be that open with each other. But then because there is that attraction, there is that, I want him to see me like this. I don't want ajue kila kitu.
But unajua pia
ngoja kwanza wacha nikwambie because nataka tu uniongeze sasa point hapo kwa hiyo, because with your style of dating now it's very spontaneous. So you basically don't know people, not vizuri kabisa, because there's some depth over knowing someone that comes with time. But then when you just meet someone and you kuna attraction, you're blinded first of all by your attraction, and then we have all these other emotions that are coming up. So in case huyo si mtu wako, in case huyu ni mtu wa kupita, in case it is like your destiny changer or someone who's just connecting you to your future wife, how can you spot the signs of hii kitu inaenda kuisha? Like when you're dating someone and you're getting to know them, how can you get to, just spot and say, these are the signs that heartbreak inakam, like naona inakuja. So I want us to take a short break and then come back, and then you'll give me from that perspective, and then Alan will tell us from someone you've been friends, you know someone, and there is some level of depth, so that we can discuss how, once we've gotten through it, how we'll deal with the heartbreak. So let's take a very, very short break. But meanwhile, go on our platforms at Y254. Let me know, is a financial stability the thing that causes you to avoid heartbreaks? Is it the one reason that if you have financial stability, it's the key to avoiding heartbreaks? Go on our platforms at Y254. Let me know, and then we'll sample your comments when we come back.